Repositioning. Standing by. Standing by.
Hello, my name is FireTight and I would like to welcome you to my brief impressions of the demo version of Final Strategy, which I first learned about at the end of January when the authors themselves contacted me. I promised to take a look at it sometime in February. Given the release of Fear the Timeloop and Crisol Theater of Idols, I was a bit, let's say, busy. But being a typical Slowpoke actually worked to my advantage this time. The February edition of Steam Next Fest arrived, and with it an updated version of the demo. It currently offers 2 playable missions out of the planet 40, divided into 4 campaigns of 10 each. However, the story is the same for all of them. Shortly after the end of the Cold War, when the world could finally breathe a little after more than 40 years, an unknown man appeared with the popular phrase "hold my beer" and took control of most of the world's military equipment, which was still resting in the warehouses of the world's superpowers. Tanks, helicopters, artillery, you name it. This unknown madman suddenly has it all in his hands, including nuclear weapons, of course. What does he want? Pfft, to destroy the world, apparently. The player's task is, of course, to stop him, but it would be certainly interesting, although not entirely ethical, if you could join his side. Maybe just for a little mini-campaign of a few missions? That's probably only my secret dream. On the battlefield, I would compare Final Strategy most ideally to Company of Heroes, slightly flavored with Men of War or Gates of Hell, because here you can also control your vehicles directly. Unfortunately, only the vehicles. Generally speaking, however, it does not currently match the quality of its competitors. The core of the game is perfectly fine. You control your units, you can group them together, each has its own statistics, you can give them various commands. It even looks solid except for the frequent terrain reloading.
Go, go! We're on them!
Theoretically, perhaps only the display of unit health and which group they belong to could be larger, at least at 4K resolution. However, this core needs a solid superstructure, and this is where Final Strategy is currently lagging behind. I could live with the fact that enemy infantry is not very visible, that may just be my poor eyesight. But vehicles often behave completely strange and like to reverse everywhere. You can only turn them manually, and thank God there's no directional damage, or I would probably be very angry. The controls in general needs to be expanded. You can order units to stand still or defend a certain sector, but artillery can't shell a specific place only through a special ability. Infantry can crouch or lie down, you can't stack commands, you can't select units using shift or control. Simply put, it lacks the bare minimum. Direct tank control is also extremely powerful in a sense that you can fire at enemy vehicles long before you would spot them in normal mode, which AI cannot always respond to well. But don't worry, I was punished for it right away. As soon as my tank exploded, I couldn't get out of it. Which is realistic on one hand, but I don't think that's what the authors intended. The first mission also unpleasantly shows how much the developers relies on scripts. You reach this intersection and an enemy tank with 2 snipers appears. But when you go around the road, there's no one there. So I thought I would outsmart the author, deliberately went around the whole thing, stood in the middle and planned to take the tank as a spy and be a tactical genius.
Positioning. Sabotage ready. Looking for an opening.
It didn't work out very well. However, due to another script, you find yourself in a situation where the map, which was completely empty until then, is suddenly full of enemies because this part of the mission is supposed to be like this. That's not a good approach. A nice bridge to what I personally find the most interesting mechanic Final Strategy has to offer, the spy. As long as the enemy sniper doesn't see you, you can run around enemy territory completely free, occasionally cast distant artillery fire or even capture enemy vehicles. The spy just walks up to it and it's yours. Vololo is for noobs. Speaking of getting into vehicles, enemies can do something similar.
Taking cover. Taking cover. Finding a better angle. Taking cover. Moving cover. Taking cover. Finding.
As I said, the core gameplay of Final Strategy looks healthy. The story and mission content could also be fine, if the developers work on the superstructure and remove the problems and shortcomings I mentioned. We will have another solid indie strategy game from the modern era on the market that is worth playing, like Regiments for example.